How are the Democrats running behind this?
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers?
While the Republicans are pushing this.
Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
At least the Democrat politicians are finally being honest about how entitled they feel towards your money, as it's hilarious that he went on The View of all places to explain to all those stay-at-home moms and anybody else with enough free time to watch daytime television that it's the evil Republicans that think paying taxes is a bad thing, as he's so detached from reality that even the producers started to try to play him off and cut to commercial mid-sentence to try to stop him from essentially snitching on himself.
Or my employees. They hate government. Government's a barrier to people. A barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay, good.
Because Senator Schumer and company tried to protest their way into stopping DOGE.
Take away our dollars. Take away everything we have. We are going to fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win. We will win.
And when that failed, they resorted to this. And they even admit they're paid to do this.
You get paid to be out here? Yeah. Amazing. Just some pack.
You really are getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, definitely. 100% I'm getting paid for this.
Which really makes you wonder how organic modern-day liberalism really is, with all these protests turning out to be paid gigs, Democrat politicians getting outraged at the idea of voter ID, and even down to just consumption of media. Even Media Matters put out this infographic at who's listening to online content, with Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, and Tucker Carlson being overtly political shows, while the biggest left-leaning outlets being The Breakfast Club, which I believe is a hip-hop radio show, Trevor Noah, which is a comedy show, and the Young Turks that I see struggling to get over 30,000 views a video. You would assume online viewership wouldn't mean so much, but I honestly think it's very telling when Donald Trump can go on Joe Rogan and get over 50 million views on a 3-hour interview, while Kamala Harris couldn't even scratch a percent of that on any of her appearances anywhere. They want you to think this is a 51 to 49% split in America, but I honestly think it's more like 80-20. It's just that 20% feels no shame in being confidently, and more importantly, loudly misinformed. As the Democrat Party is officially imploding, first Senator Schumer voted against the Republicans for the government shutdown.
Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR.
But quickly changed his mind and voted with the Republicans to prevent the shutdown.
As bad as passing the CR is, as I said, allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option.
And far-left Reddit realized it was just in time to go on his tour to promote his new book, to which all the replies were promoting a protest against him for selling them out. And shortly after, he had to cancel his book tour, citing security reasons. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to court a core of angry progressives that have nothing better to do than to march in the streets against anybody that doesn't agree with every single one of their thoughts non-stop because they're emotionally incapable of accepting nuance. I think most conservative voters are angry at how the Trump administration has handled the Epstein documents, but not a single one of them is contemplating blocking the freeways over it. Not because they don't want Trump to course correct, but because they know no amount of sign making and screaming in the streets is going to change it. But the least of Schumer's worries are the citizens. It's more the other Democrats that are seeing their opportunity to take his place.
There is a volcanic eruption of outrage at Leader Schumer because we want a Mitch McConnell.
You're close with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Some of your fellow House Democrats say, and not just progressives, by the way, we've heard that moderates have said this too, that they're ready to support her to challenge Chuck Schumer in a Democratic primary. Would you get behind that?
The point that Senator Schumer has kind of made is, the CR is bad, but a shutdown is worse. So how do you respond to that point?
That is, I cannot understand. I cannot underscore enough how incorrect that is. Because what this does, what voting for this CR does, is that it codifies the chaos and the reckless cuts that Elon Musk has been pursuing. The robbing of our federal government in order to finance tax cuts for billionaires is what is happening, and that is what Senate Democrats will be empowering.
And they love to say that, but even the Hill admitted the Republican tax reforms benefit the working class, not the rich. They like to pretend they're for the low-income voters when they're really targeting low-information voters, going on television trying to tell you this.
The Republican Party now, particularly in office, is the party of rich oligarchs who want to really screw every average American so they can get tax cuts for the rich. When
in reality, they're doing this.
The government can give money to a so-called nonprofit with very few controls, and then there's no auditing subsequently of that nonprofit. They then give themselves extremely lavish, like insane salaries, expense everything to the nonprofit. Buy jets and homes and all sorts of things.
Live like kings and queens.
Yes.
On the taxpayer dime.
Correct.
You mentioned...
And this is happening at scale. It's not just one or two. We're seeing this everywhere.
Democrats love to cite the Republican unelected oligarchs, but mention Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, who promotes the Democrats, Mark Zuckerberg, who had his social media sites censor almost exclusively conservatives, and Elon Musk, who only recently became political, and if anything, Elon has lost a large amount of his wealth since speaking up. So at least to me, it doesn't seem like the MAGA Republicans are the party of the wealthy elites. But all they have is lies, as CNN openly admits the Democrats' approval is at a laughable 29%, but then pretends the opposite.
That I don't mean they're saying, boy, I regret voting for Trump and wish I'd voted for the Democrats. It's more that they're saying, well, this is not what I thought he meant.
But if you've stuck with CNN for this long, I imagine you're prone to believing anything, including Democrat messaging.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. Prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse.
Starting on day one.
A lot of people love eggs. Many of us have them. And finally, I have some good news for you. The USDA says wholesale egg prices dropped for the third straight week, and it's a pretty big drop.
So when egg prices are up under Biden, they say nothing. But when Trump comes in office, they all randomly record the same exact TikTok. But when the prices go down, they don't care about the American people benefiting from being able to afford food. They all just crawl back in their hole and start screaming about needing more of your tax dollars, as absolutely everything with this administration has been an upgrade, up to and including the Coca-Cola. As Biden had Hunter, and Trump has Conor McGregor.
You know, our money is being spent on overseas issues that has nothing to do with the Irish people. The illegal immigration racket is running ravage on the country. There are rural towns in Ireland that have been overrun in one swoop, that have become a minority in one swoop. So issues need to be addressed.
And nothing against Conor. As you can tell, I'm a fan of Mystic Mac and his journey through the UFC. And when I covered the riots in Ireland last year, I really appreciated how he stood up for the Irish people, no matter how unpopular it was going to make him in the mainstream media, which is pretty much the conundrum that we all face today, including you watching this, where if you want to base your opinions in reality, you have to accept the fact that you'll catch flack from those that need you to accept their fantasy. And the Democrats have lied through their teeth so boldly, it's almost validating to have them angry at me.
Your booze mean nothing, I've seen what makes you cheer.
So if you appreciate my concise, light-order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on what happens when anti-Tesla protesters meet reality.